Hello folks, this video is going to be on using Stella Architect to draw a causal loop diagram. And I'm going to start with a homework assignment that's going to be due on September 14th. It's up online. It's from page 29 in the learning guide. And what we're going to be doing is drawing the causal loop diagram for the chi-bob. And you can see that I have Stella Architect open. And the first thing I'm going to do in order to draw a causal loop diagram is I'm going to go up to File and click on File and tell it New CLD, and that stands for causal loop diagram. I will click on that, and you can see my icons up here have changed. What I want to do is click on the variable, and I have the picture in front of me, so I'm just going to copy that picture, and it's deer population. I can click on the variable again and go back and click. I'm going to put in deer deaths per year. I'm going to go back on, click on the variable for the next one, and this will be deer births per year. And I can actually start connecting these now. So, and I'm thinking, I don't like where I am on the screen. I'm just going to highlight these. I'd like it a little more centered. And if I shift to the right, you're going to see that gray area is going to open up. If I go down, and all of a sudden I'll have all the space I need. I'm going to click. I want this wrap, so I'm going to click on it once and go to the center and hit a return. Same thing with deer population. I'd like it a little more square. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is when you're actually building models, what you want to do is they're going to be more complex. There's going to be a lot of variables. Start slow. Do a couple of things at a time. Hooking them up. Write the equations in. There are no equations here, but the concept of going slow and doing one thing at a time. So I'm going to click right on top of the deer population. Whoops. Click on my arrow. I'm going to click and hold down with the right arrow key on my mouse, and I'm going to slide over until I'm on top of the deer bursts per year and let go. I'm going to click on my arrow again. I'm going to click right on top of deer bursts per year and go back to deer. I can grab this circle here and just adjust these a little bit if I wish. I'm going to do the same thing, and I will click from deer population, and I will go to deer deaths per year. And then on the Mac anyways, if I hold the Option key down, the arrow will come up, and I can click on the deer deaths, and holding that right mouse key down, I can go over to the deer population. And now I'm ready. I want to add the plus and minus signs. And let's say if my deer population increases, my deer bursts, all other things being held constant, should increase. If I double click on this arrow at the circle, it's going to open this window up. I will click on positive because it's going to move in the same direction. It'll be positive. You can see that plus sign is very small. I'm going to make it larger. I'll make it 18 just so it shows up some. I can click back. And if deer births increase, what will happen to the deer population? It will also increase, so it's going to be a positive relationship. And again, I will make that 18. So I have closed one feedback loop. Let's do the next one. If deer population increases, I'll click on that arrow. What would happen to deer deaths? If all other things are held equal, if I have more deer, then I'm going to have more deer deaths per year. I'll go in and I will make that 18. And the deer deaths per year, if they increased, my deer population should go down. If more of them are dying, it's going to be a negative. And I know with the negative, I might make it a little bigger. I might go to 24. And now I built two feedback loops. And now what I have to do is label these feedback loops. If I go up to my T, I can click on that. And I'm going to go down to the loop label. And I'll click right in here. I'll open that up a bit. And now what I'm going to do is double click on that icon. And I get a new window. And I'm just going to call this R1, just in case I have other feedback loops that are positive when I'm adding this. It'll be able to distinguish. I'm going to try to keep this arrow going clockwise because that's the way the feedback loop is going. It's just a visual hint for folks. And what I can do is if I click on the select variables, what I can do is if I click on deer, Let's see. You click on deer. I'm going to click on the handle here, so it's the arrow. I'm going to click on the bursts. I'm going to click on the next arrow. And then when I get out of here, one of the things that will happen is if I go over this icon, the feedback loop will light up. The other thing I don't like is that R1 is pretty small. I'd like it to be larger. I'm going to double click on this, and if I go down below, you'll see I can go to my paintbrush. If I click on the paintbrush, it will open this window here, and up here under text settings, let's make that R18, the R118. So now I have filled in this as it is in the homework assignment. Now I want to fill this loop in. This is a balancing loop. You can see the loop icon is still selected up here. I'll click on this. It's going the right direction. When it's there, it's pretty small. I'll open that up a little bit. Try to be consistent, but it really doesn't matter that much. It doesn't change the outcomes. I'm going to double click on it. And for my text, I'll call this B1. This is a balancing loop because I have one negative sign. If the deer population increased, deaths increase, deer population goes down. It's moving in the opposite direction from whence it started. And that's one of the indications that it is a balancing loop. I'm going to click on the show variables. I'm going to click on this. I'll click on this. I'll click on this. And I can see it's sort of in my way now. I think, let's see if I can grab on here and just, I can't. So I'm going to grab down here and slide it over some. I'll click on my select variables again and click on deer. And I should be done now. Now I'll click anywhere in the white space. And when I highlight, that feedback loop is highlighted. Again, this B1's pretty small. I would like to have it at size 18. I clicked in the wrong spot. If I double click on the B1, it opens the window again. I go to my paintbrush and I can change this to 18. And then we're consistent. If you're looking at the diagram, you'll realize there are more variables in here. There is food for predators. If I can spell correctly. I'll click on the variable again and go down predator births per year. I think if I if I click the shift key after I've gotten out of that variable, see the variable comes up. So it'll be the last tool I use should come up again. Predator population. And click on my option key on the Mac. Deer killed by predators. They're going out and eating them. And I am going to draw this feedback loop. I'm going to click on my arrow key. I'm going to click on and hold down with the mouse button on deer population. You know, I still want these squared up, so I'm going to click on that and go in with my cursor and hit a return. I'll do the same thing here. Same thing here. And this doesn't mean it's right or wrong. This is sort of a personal preference. The other thing you'll notice is I capitalize all my variable names, and that's just a habit. And when I'm writing things up, there could be the concept of food for predators, which I would leave non-capitalized. But if I was writing in a paper and I wanted them to know that it was the variable I was talking about, then I would show the capitalized in my writing food for predators. This is personal preference. It's not something you're going to get graded on or anything. It's not that necessary. So I'm going to connect my food to predators births per year. Going back up and clicking, and I'm just going to close this feedback loop. Try to keep them in circles so that visually you can follow this idea of a feedback loop relatively easy. So if you can keep it pretty great, but lines can cross if it has to happen. This is a complex system. Eventually that will occur. And your homework assignment is to finish this. So I'm going to go down to my tools variable. I'm going to click on this. I'll make it larger. You can notice it's going counterclockwise with this loop is what it is. It's following around here where my cursor is. And so if I double click on that, I can tell it to go counterclockwise. And it will go counterclockwise. And your job as part of this homework assignment is to label the feedback loops. you should be able to go in, and once you've selected this, click as I've done, so that when you hover over this, the feedback loop will be identified. And then what we have told you, I'll click on variable, and there were two other variables in here. One was a forage available, and growth, forage growth. And you might want to add other variables, but what you're going to be doing is connecting this. And in the instructions, it mentions how the deer actually eat the forage, right? And then you have the forage growth. So you should be able to add one or two more feedback loops. You would label the link polarity, label the loops, and this is what you will be submitting as part of your homework assignment. You'll be able to use Stella Architect and submit it this way. And again, if you have any questions or anything, contact me. The idea with this course is not to get stuck on the software. This is not a course about learning the software. I will just tell you what to do as far as the software is concerned. It's about the concepts. In this exercise, you should be learning about feedback loops and its practice on identifying the link polarity, so for those red lines going from one variable to another. And it's about the loop polarity, and it's sort of putting it all together. What type of behavior would this generate? And you've played with the KaiBob online. There's actually, we have a mathematical model behind this that can generate that type of behavior. This is how to draw causal loop diagrams. Again, please, you got my cell phone number, you've got my email address. You should be comfortable reaching out at any time, particularly if you're like working on this assignment and it's like, oh no, how do I do this? I'm stuck. Spend 5 or 10 minutes trying to do it. If you're really stuck on the software, you should just reach up the phone. If I'm available, I know the software well enough, I can walk you through it in just minutes. And if you're calling me, you better leave a message, because if I don't recognize your phone number, I'm not picking up. If I am available, I will call you right back. That's it. Thanks, and good luck.